Hey guys, GoSign here. Today we're going to work on box and whisker plots. So it says for the Nuke agenda, find the following pieces of information for the data values. We have 4, 6, 6, 13, and 11. Now, we can do this by hand. We can figure out the mean, median, mode, and range, the quartiles and whatnot, but we can also use the calculator to do that. So in order to use the calculator, we go to Stats, and we go to Edit, and we type in our values. We have 4, 6, 6, 13, and 11. Alright, the calculator will make this very easy to work with. So we press Stat again, we go over to Calculate, and we're going to do one variable stats. So we press Enter, Enter, Enter. And here we have everything that we need. So the first thing that we need to look at is our mean. So our mean is denoted as x bar. So I'm going to write that here. So mean, that's the same thing as x with a bar on top of it. So x bar is going to be 8. So our mean for this is 8. Our median is our middle number. So I'm going to scroll down, and I see we have median, which is med for this, is going to be 6. Alright, now our mode. Our mode, remember, mode is the number that occurs the most. So between these numbers here, I see that 6 occurs the most, so I'm going to write that down. 6. And our range. Our range is the highest number minus the smallest number. So we can look here, we can figure out what's our highest and what's our lowest, but also the calculator gives that to us if you have a lot of data. We have the minimum value, and we have the maximum value. So the range is the high minus low. Oops, can't spell low. Low. Okay, so we take 13 minus 4, that gives us 9. And now we're going to find Q1 and Q3. So the first and third quartile. The calculator also gives that to us. Q1 is 5. And Q3 is 12. Alright, just a little notes. Sometimes the median, they may call that Q2. So you may see that in some problems. Okay. And finally, the interquartile range. So all we do Q3 minus Q1. So we have 12 minus 5, and that should give us 7. Alright, so this is all the answers for this problem. So today we're going to work on box and whisker plots. Some of you guys have learned this before. It shows us the highlights of the data, and in order to create a box and whisker plot, we need the median, which is Q2. First quartile, third quartile, the minimum, and the maximum. Okay, so this is what a box and whisker plot looks like. So it's called that because we have a box here, and within this box we have our quartiles, first, second, and third. We have our minimum on the outside, and these are the whiskers. Okay. So we can find this information exactly how I did it with the do now. All of these steps are here. If you want to take a moment and copy this down, you can pause the video and copy it down. Okay, so number 1 says, the test scores from Mrs. Gray's math class are shown below. All of them. So it says to construct the box and whisker plot to display the data. So I'm going to go back to my calculator, and I'm going to type all this stuff in. So I press Stats, press Enter. Now, one thing that you don't want to do, you probably heard this before, but I'm going to say it again. Never go up to here and press, well, you press clear. As you can see, press clear and everything goes away. You never want to press delete. You press delete, that goes away, and it makes things a little bit different. Because now when you go to when you go to calculate, you got to make sure to change this from list 1 to list 2, and it gets very confusing. If you do make that mistake, you can always reset your calculator by pressing second plus sign 712. And when you go back to the stats, edit, you see L1 is there again. Okay? Just be careful with that. If ever you want to clear out whatever is here, you press clear, never delete. Okay, so we're going to type this in. We have 72, 73, 66, 71, 82, 85, 95, 85, 86, 89, 91, 92. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you typed in everything that you're supposed to type in. Now, one quick way to just check to make sure that you did this right. According to this, it says that L13, that means we were up to the 13th place to type stuff in, which means we have 12 things before it. Now let's count this and make sure that we have 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we have all that we need to plug in. Now it says to construct the box and Whisker plot to display the data. So I know I need 5 pieces of information. I need my minimum. I need Q1. I need my median, or Q2. I need Q3, and I need my max. Okay, so I have these. Let's find them. Go to stats, over to calc, enter. Enter, enter, enter. And I don't care about my mean, I care about these values right over here. So our minimum is 66. And you can see that from here. Q1 is 72.5. Median is 85. Q3 is 90. And our max is 95. So we get that all from here. Cool. I believe there's a way to actually plot this on your calculator as well, like the box plot. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I think it has to do something with here. If you find out, let us know. That would be cool to see as well. But on the regions, you're going to have to actually calculate it on here and write it out. So it may not be the best. Just get all the values from here. Okay. So now let's start creating our box plot. Now we're going to make this. I'll make a rough sketch. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but we want to make it as accurate as possible. So we have our minimum value, which is 66. I'm going to put a little dot right there. I usually like to put it above the line. Some people put it through the line. I don't like to do that. Q1 is 72.5. So 72.5, I know it's right in between 70 and 75. So I'm going to put a line here. Our median is 85, right on the line. And Q3 is 90, right over here. And finally, our maximum is 95, so I'll put a dot here. Okay. Now, I want to make this as neat as possible, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and use a rectangle. Let's see if this works out. Well, it's more like a square, but alright. Let's see if I can change that around. Come on. There we go. So, here we have our square. Our rectangle. And let's try and get rid of these lines here. Okay. So again, when we line this up here, we see that this low point right here is at 72.5. Right here. 72.5. Over here, the next line that we had was supposed to be 85, so I'm going to draw in a line here. Again, trying to make this as neat as possible. So at 85, I draw a line. And then we have another line at 90. Okay. And then we draw our whiskers. So we had a line. We had a point here at 66. So I'm going to draw a line straight across. And we had a line at, a point at 95. So I draw this straight across. Okay. And that's it. Once they give you that information, you plug into the calculator, get these 5 pieces of information and create our box plot. Okay, so if you look at it, well, I'm doing it on my computer, so it's a little hard, but it's not 100% accurate. As long as it's close enough, that'll be fine. Okay, so let's try this one again. We're going to construct the box and whisker plots, and there's something a little different here. Notice, there are no values down here. We're going to have to come up with that in a moment. So I am going to go to Stats, Edit, and go up to L1. Remember, do not press Delete, press Clear, and then Enter. And we're going to type in our values. 26, 32, 19, 65, 57, 16. Oh. 16. So now you got to make sure that you type this in correctly, because if I had left that as a 6, it would have thrown off all of my data. 28, 42, 40, 21, 38. Okay. So I'm going to go to Stats, over to Calculate, Enter, Enter, Enter. And I care about the bottom part here. So our minimum, change the color, I'm tired of black. Let's go with green. Minimum is 16. Q1 is 21. Q2, our median, is 32. And Q3 is 42. And max is 65. Okay. So we got to come up with some kind of scale for this. And whatever you guys come up with, you could come up with many different scales, but you got to make sure that all of your data fits here. So we don't have to start with 0. We can start with something like 10. We can start with 15. And we have to come up with an even interval. So I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do 16, 21, 32, 42, and then 65. I'm not allowed to do that because the intervals in between are not even. Alright, so I'm going to erase that. So instead, I'm going to come up with something that would make a bit more sense. I do see that maybe we can try and count by 5s and see if that works. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error. So I'm going to start, instead of 16, I'm going to start with 15, and then go up by 5s. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Ooh, and look at that, 65. If it's perfectly, if I were to count by 5s. Okay. You could also count by 10s if you like. You can count by, if you try counting by 1s, it's just one more. There's way too much data here. And you can't count by 2s. Anything less than 5, you can't really count by. Anything more than 5, you can, but the smaller you count by, the better it is for your data. Alright, so let's try this again. We have our, I'm going to make my box first. So I'm going to try and use this one. Let's see if this one works better. So for my box, and let me just label this here. These 3 are for my box. This is a whisker. And this is a whisker. Alright, so let's start with the box. So I have 21. I know 21 is going to be somewhere around here. And my Q3 is 42. So 42 is going to be somewhere around here. Okay. So just to label it, this one here is Q1. This one is Q3. And then let's put Q2, or our median, in the middle. Q2 is 32. 32 is somewhere around here. So I'm just going to make a quick average of it. And there we go. So this one I'll label Q2. You don't have to label it, I'm just doing it so you guys can see. Okay, Q1, Q2, Q3. And just to be sure, Q1 was 21, that's good. 32, that's good. 42, that's good. Alright, now minimums, we have 16, which would be somewhere around here. And we have 65, which will be all the way over here. Okay. So I'm going to join those with a line. Start from here, and go across. And start from here, go across. Alright, not bad. So this is our box and Whisker. So if I want to continue with the labeling, this will be minimum, and this is max. Okay. So what this data is actually showing us right now is that our quartiles are pretty evenly spaced and they're relatively low. 65 is extremely high. That seems like the highest out of everything that we have here. So with the data, what this is saying is that most of our data is between 21 and 42, but we do have a couple of higher data that is skewing this a little bit. So we have 65 and we have 57. Those are pretty high. But most of the other data falls within this range here. And 15 is also kind of low, but it's not that low because that distance isn't too far away. Okay, so let's talk about this. These are giveaways. If you know what upper quartile is, you're good to go. It says the box and whisker plot below shows represents the student's scores on a recent English test. So we have our box and whisker. It says what is the value of the upper quartile? So upper quartile, this is also known as Q3. Okay, Q1 is lower quartile. Q2 is just known as the median. Q3 is the upper quartile. So upper quartile, notice that they gave this value here of 94. That's not our upper quartile, that's our max. 68, they gave the lower one. That's not it. Sorry, that's not the lower. They gave this one right here, which is my lower quartile. Our median, which is 76, is not that. It's actually 84. I see it's between 80 and 90, so I can assume that this is 84. It seems like these are being counted by 2. So that's our answer. When they ask for upper quartile, we want to find our Q3, which is right here, which hits that line at 80, 82, 84. Alright. Now this one can be a little bit confusing. They gave us 3 different box and whisker plots, and we gotta see what is true about this. So let's read through all of them and understand what they're asking. So number 1 says, the median income for nuclear engineers, so this one here, it's about the median income, which is right here, that's our median, is greater than the outcome of all musicians. So musicians, we see that this is the annual outcome for them. Sorry, income? Did I say outcome? Yeah, it's income, sorry. They're saying that this one is bigger than all the musicians, all the money that they make, which isn't true. Because we see over here, there's a musician that made above $120,000, which is amazing. So that median is not very true. Number 1's out. Okay, so let me get rid of all of this markings. Number 2 says, the median income for police officers, so right here, the median income for police officers is, and musicians is the same. So the median here and median here. That looks to be true. As you can see, it's on the same line. So I'm going to put a question mark there. I want to test all the others just to make sure that I understood the question correctly. It says all nuclear engineers earn more than all police officers. Again, not true. When we look at this, all nuclear engineers, this is where they start at, let's say, 50,000. Police officers, they make more than that at 60,000. So not all engineers make more than police. So that was wrong. And finally, the last one says a musician will eventually earn more than a police officer. Now I want to talk a little bit about that because that can be confusing. This graph here is not a timeline. It's not saying, oh, you're going to start down here and then slowly work your way up. There are musicians where they start at the top, they made a one-hit wonder and they started making money right away. There's some musicians who are in it for their whole life playing gigs and they may not make as much. This is not a timeline, so this word eventually doesn't really matter. So even though musicians could make more in a lifetime, that's not what this graph is showing, so we can't say that that statement is true based on the box and whisker plots. So that one's out. Number 2 is the answer. Alright, and number 5. Corin is planning a beach vacation in July and is analyzing the daily high temperatures for her potential destination. Oh boy. Yep, that's what people do when they want to go away. She wants to make box and whisker plots. So she would like to choose a destination with a high median temperature and a small interquartile range. She constructed box plots in the diagram shown below. Okay, so a couple of things that she wants is a high median temperature and small interquartile range. Okay. So it says which destination has a median temperature above 80 degrees, so that's very important, and the smallest interquartile range. So let's see which one has the median, because that seems easy to do. Our median, I'm going to highlight that in red. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it needs to be above 80 degrees. Ocean Beach is below. That's out. Whispering Palms is above. I'll put a question mark with it. Serene Shores, that is out. Pelican Beach, that one I'm going to put a question mark. So we're down to 50-50 chance. If you were to guess, don't do that because it doesn't make sense. We know what interquartile range is. We can figure this out. So interquartile range basically means if she wants a small interquartile range, she wants our Q1. So we know these are out, so I'm not even going to look at them anymore. So cross that one out, goodbye. Cross that one out, goodbye. So we want this line here, our Q1 and our Q3, to be as close together. So we have this one, Q1, we have Q3. So which one do you think is closer together? Now, if you think that this one's close together, maybe get your eyes checked. We'll check it to be sure. But this distance is definitely bigger. Oops. Ah, hang on. That's what happens when I make fun of students. Okay. So this distance is definitely bigger than that distance. We don't want the bigger one. So whispering palms will not be whispering today. Okay, so that's not our answer. Our answer is Pelican Beach. Okay. Alright, and that's it. So now you guys have practice problems. Here's 1 and 2. Pause the video here, copy these now. Here's 3 and 4. So 3 is there, 4 is there. Okay. And you can pause that one and work on that one. And finally, number 5 is right here. Alright, guys, hope you're staying safe. We're almost done with the unit. We have, I think, maybe one more lesson after this, 1 or 2. But, yeah, we're almost done with our first year in high school. Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work and turn this in as soon as you can. Okay, have a great day.